Welcome to this week's World on Water Global Sailing News. I'm your host, Rob Brown. This week we take a look at the GC32's in Lagos, Portugal, the IRC European Championships at the Yacht Club Sanremo, and we head back to Kiel, Kiel Week in Germany. And we go multi-hull at the Hobie 16 Asian Champs, and a lot more. For the 10 international teams competing off Lagos, Portugal at this second World Championship for the GC32 Flying One Design Catamaran class, a day of two halves plus a mix of conditions and starting formats provided a worthy test that caused even the most polished crews to falter. Nonetheless, after 5 races, the top of the leaderboard is impossibly tight with 4 teams all within 1 point.
Welcome to the GC32 World Championship in Lagos, Portugal. Olympic heroes, America's Cup winners, Volvo Ocean Race champions and some of sailing's most capped world champions are here to claim the prestigious title. 10 teams were ready to fight for the championship, including last year's winners Sebastian Schneider and Team Tilt.
It is a tough field this year. It's going to be an extremely difficult week, and hopefully we can inch ahead of everybody. I'm still a bit upset personally for losing out on the championship last year, so I definitely have a score to settle.
So we're here in Lagos, ready to fight to defend our title of the World Championship from last year.
There were some great sailing conditions on the opening day of the championship, with winds of up to 15 knots and flat waters. In the bright sunshine, Alinghi won 3 out of the 5 races. However, last year's runner-up Adam Minoprio showed greater consistency to end the day tied on points with Alinghi at the top of the leaderboard. In fact, the 4 top teams were all within just 1 point of each other. On countback, the Marne Air lead overall, while just 1 point behind are Ineos Rebels UK, skippered by Ben Ainsley, and Norauto, skippered by Frank Camas, last year's GC32 Lagos Cup winners. Meanwhile, Argo, skippered by Jason Carroll, is leading the Owner Drivers' Trophy.
Today started really well, and we saw the keys, the consistency during the day. We had for sure two bad races, but we won 3 races, so we kind of recover from that, and everyone are pushing really hard, and I think I mean there is 5 teams that can win this championship, so it's going to be a really great event, and we're looking forward to tomorrow.
Stay tuned for more close competition on day 2 of the GC32 World Championship tomorrow.
The 4th edition of the IRC European Championships took place in Sanremo last week and was hosted by the historic Sanremo Yacht Club. The best IRC boats of Europe, including the TP52's, were welcome for racing in the Gulf of Genoa. After the 2 days of light winds, Huey, the wind god, finally delivered with near-perfect sailing conditions. So much so, the race committee got back on schedule by completing 3 windward-leeward races in the 8 to 10 knot westerly breeze. Next, we head to Germany for the final day of the Great Kiel Wocka Regatta.
Day 8 of Kiel Week was a waiting game. A lack of wind meant the start was postponed until well into the sunny afternoon. With the breeze still very light and shifty, the sailors made their way to the racecourse. Two 49er FX Gold races took place in very light airs, which opened up the opportunity for some new names to make their mark. Surprise winners of the first race were the Croatians, Ninčević and De Micheli Vituri, ahead of the experienced Danes Bard Nielsen and Tuskard Olsen. The overall leaders, Germany's Yacht Lawrence, finished 5th. Anything inside the top 5 is a good score. We've never won Kiel Week before. It would be really cool if we could finally achieve that. For the second race, the wind dropped even lighter. This time, the Dutch crew Offerman de Ruyter held the lead. A good start and minimal manoeuvres were the keys to success. The second best German team, Lutz and Wocka, were 4th across the line. Today it was ultra difficult. The conditions were really hard. One small mistake and you were immediately pushed to the back. While many of the top teams slipped up, Victoria Yacht and Annika Lawrence extended their lead. A good showing for the Germans in front of their home crowd. The closing weekend of Kiel Wocka started with a spectacular highlight. The Windjammer Parade set sail on the fjord in bright sunshine and fantastic weather. At the same time, the 49ers started their Gold Fleet race in very light and shifty wind. At the first windward mark, it was the Poles, Cibatek and Kolozinski, who held the lead. The top Kiwis in this world-class lineup are Dunning-Beck and Gunn, along with Olympic champions Burling and Chuk, but both teams struggled in the light airs. The New Zealanders found it difficult to make their way through the congested traffic. On the second windward leg, the Poles lost their lead to the French team, Fischer-Jovan, who read the shifting breeze better than anyone. They took the lead and held on for the winner's gun. The Germans, Fischer and Graf, had a hard race, but still finished 9th. It was a good race for the world-ranked #1 team from Great Britain. Peters and Sterrett sailed a smart race to cross the finish line in 4th place.
Yeah, it's another day of shifty offshore, which we're getting quite used to here in Kiel. And I think we came 4th or 5th in that race there, so 4th. Yeah, just keeping kind of consistent. We had a good 2 races yesterday and continuing on with that today.
With the wind conditions getting even lighter, this would be the only 49er race of the day. The top 10 on the scoreboard will be racing for a place on the podium in tomorrow's medal race.
The Hobie 16 Asian Championships were sailed off the beach in the garden city of Weihai, with China claiming top spots on the podium. This is by far the largest Hobie event held in China, with 73 teams from 11 countries. The event was hosted by Weihai's International Sailing Month and the International Hobie Class Association, and was proudly supported by the Weihai Sports Bureau.
非常适合开展Hobie 帆船的一个场地。因为政府的支持，因为大众的参与度很高，所以Hobie 16在威海是得到大众认可的。
former French fin sailor Yves Jeannot, sailing the Far 36 Absolutely 2, was the overall winner of the IRC European Championships. Hosted by Yacht Club Sanremo, 40 crews competed on the beautiful waters of the Gulf of Sanremo. The coastal race was unfortunately cancelled due to the light winds, but was more than compensated by the champagne sailing conditions on the last day to crown the new European champions. A morning 8-knot westerly progressively increased to reach over 20 knots in the afternoon, enabling the race committee to complete 3 windward-leeward races. The stronger winds consolidated positions for some, but for others it completely destroyed their regatta. Alingi was the class act at the GC32 World Championships in Portugal this year. Proudly supported by Sopramar, the City of Lagos and the Marina de Lagos, the 2-time America's Cup winners started the day just 3 points ahead of Oman Air. After winning the first 2 races and a third in race 3, the Swiss finished on an immaculate 16 points. Team Tilt performed well and ended up on 10, while the day could have gone better for Oman Air, which finished last in race 2.
With such a competitive fleet at the GC32 World Championship in Lagos, Portugal, consistency is imperative for success in claiming the Flying Catamaran's top trophy. And with perfect weather conditions out on the water, there was some ultra-tough competition between the 10 teams.
We have the best sailors in the world, there's a lot of races, consistency counts, It's really about getting the simple things right all the time, which is a lot easier for me to say than do.
The conditions are just perfect for foiling catamarans, and we enjoy the sailing there. And for today, as usual, start and fight for the win in each race.
The second day of the championship once again demonstrated the high level of skill and talent of the sailors racing these high-performance catamarans. Alinghi started where they left off yesterday with a second and a first, edging out into the lead. However, poorer results in races 3 and 4 and with a second place in the final race of the day left them with just a 3-point lead at the top of the overall rankings, ahead of Oman Air in second. Ineos Rebel UK follows in third, whilst Norauto is in fourth, having had some disappointing results but then winning the last 2 races of the day. Jason Carroll's Argo still lead the owner-drivers trophy.
We had a pretty tough day today, really. It was great conditions out there, but for one reason or another, we couldn't really get things firing on our boat and struggling sort of around the mid-fleet. We had some good earlier races, but it wasn't quite as good as we would like to be. Having said that, we're up at the top end of the fleet. It's been fantastic racing and a really good challenge for all of the teams. And we look forward to getting back out there and getting some more good racing tomorrow.
Stay tuned for more action on day 3 tomorrow.
It's Olympic Medals Day at Kiel Week, the largest regatta in the Northern Hemisphere, and the pressure is on.
Decision day at Wocka. Medal races in the Olympic classes. A double-point showdown between the top 10 in each fleet. It was a 4-way fight for gold in the NACRA 17 catamaran. The Austrian Zajak Mats took the lead ahead of the Italians and the Germans. Koloff and Stuhlema are known for their strength in strong winds and took up the lead. But on the second windward leg, disaster. Alisa Stuhlema fell overboard and had to swim back to get herself on board. The hunt for overall victory continued on the charge downwind. It was close between Austria and Italy, but Zajak and Mats crossed ahead to win the gold medal ahead of Bisero and Frascari, who took silver. We knew we had a lot to do in that race. We worked as hard as we could for the victory. I was cheering on Babsi all the way, and the Babs really did a good job. To win Wocka is a mega thing for us. In the 49er FX, the German team of Yacht, and Lawrence entered the medal race 6 points ahead. Lying in second were the young Dutch Offerman and de Ruyter. The women from Berlin sailed a controlled race, and a 4th place across the line was just enough to give Victoria Yurtzok and Annika Lawrence their first victory at Wocka. We're so happy. We were aiming for a top 3 finish here, so we are glad that our plans worked out so well. So close were the points in the 49er, 9 of the 10 teams in the medal race could win gold. The superstars Peter Burling and Blair Tuke from New Zealand were gunning for overall victory from 5th place at the start of the day. Shibatek and Kolozinski were in pole position, but the world number ones, Peters and Sterrett from Great Britain, sailed an excellent race to win the medal race. However, chasing the British hard were Logan Dunningbeck and Oscar Gunn, the New Zealanders crossing the line in 2nd place and taking the gold medal.
It was brutally tactical. You just had to try and get a couple of lifts and hold on till the end.
It's our first big regatta win, so we're happy with that.
So that was the 125th edition of Kiel Week. With fantastic weather and beautiful breeze, no wonder the sailors were calling it California.
Well, that's it for another great week on World on Water. Be watching next week for more boating news from around the globe. I'm your host, Rob Brown, and we'll see you next time.